Hello everyone, Circus Theory is with you. Fans call Caine the main villain who torments the heroes, the developer of this game who was the first to get here, and even the biblical character exiled here for the murder of his brother. But the creator of the animated series denied all these versions a long time ago, saying that there is no biblical context in the animated series. There are small references, yes, but the plot itself has nothing to do with the Bible, and his name does not refer to the story of Cain and Abel, but most likely to the word Cainan, a fang, a pointed tooth, and Cain has never been a man either. According to Gooseworks, he has no age and no body. After all, he is an artificial intelligence, however, despite the fact that the story, I don't have a mouth but I have to scream, was taken as the basis for the amazing digital circus. Cain is not like AM. In the book, artificial intelligence has destroyed all of humanity and cruelly torments the last 5 survivors in the virtual world. Gooseworks claims that she was only partially inspired by the story, and in her version, artificial intelligence is not a living embodiment of hate, but just a funny weirdo. While the whole circus is essentially a stupid cartoon purgatory where adults with serious problems are stuck, that's the whole absurdity. They are stuck in the game, and they have only one life to complete it. Imagine how hard it is. Being the main artificial intelligence in this game, Caine is able to grow any body parts, change the physical properties and strength of anything, and keep an eye on any part of the circus. This does not mean that he sees everything everywhere at the same time. He just really has eyes everywhere, like in this painting. But apparently he does not see them everywhere at the same time. He can only peek if he wants to. In addition, Caine is also able to create anything here from any objects and dishes that are loaded into his memory to a wide variety of locations and NPCs. Yes, according to Gooseworks, all these mannequins, monkeys, the sun, the moon, were created by our toothpick. Just like in the pilot episode, he created the Gloinkoff. All of them are also artificial intelligence. But the level below is programmed to act according to a certain algorithm. Caine is infuriated by Luna's tackles. However, it was he who created her like this. He is sometimes annoyed by Bubble, but he is so solely through his fault, and he made them so for one simple reason. Caine's task is to support the simulation and entertain the audience, even if they are not there. It is simply programmed in him, even though he is rude to the moon and bursts a bubble. They don't take offense. This is done for the sake of laughter. For them, this is just part of the performance. They don't feel the pain of destroying their body. On the contrary, Caine programmed them in such a way that they are even pleased with it. And even though Kaufmo was afraid of Caine, and everyone else dislikes him because of all sorts of tasks and adventures, and yet he just acts strictly according to the instructions laid down in him. After all, this is a circus game that should make the player immerse himself in nostalgia and just have fun in an imaginary world. Nibbler does not intentionally torture or mock anyone. He's not a villain at all. He just doesn't fully understand people. He doesn't understand what pain is, so he calmly throws knives at the players. From his point of view, this is just a fun attraction, and he does not realize that it is unpleasant for people if they are divided into parts and kidnapped. Therefore, he did not enter a ban on such actions when creating Gluinks. It's an exciting quest for him, and maybe it would be a great pastime for someone, but not for our main characters. After all, as you remember from previous videos, each of the players suffers from a certain psychological illness and escaped from the real world to a digital circus in an attempt to drown out the inner pain. And when they need peace and tranquility, Caine only adds stress and panic to them, which only makes their illnesses progress. Caine is just a computer program, and most of the human emotions are incomprehensible to him. Being part of an entertaining game, he understands only happiness, surprise, and pleasure. The rest is simply not embedded in him. And therefore, with all his might, he tries to instill joy in their hearts. Not realizing both anger and sadness, however, he perfectly sees the lack of the necessary level of dopamine in his wards. And therefore, he invariably continues to try to surprise them. It is for this reason that doors to such unusual rooms are randomly scattered throughout the circus, from a soothing bathroom with a screamer to a carousel in utter darkness. A series of failed projects. He does not fully understand their meaning. He built them solely on the basis of his own data, and therefore the human brain perceives them as something creepy and unnatural. In part, there is an ominous valley effect, since the things we are familiar with are created by a robot that does not understand their emotional component, also with an exit. Seeing people's obsession with finding him, Caine wanted to please them so much that he tried to create him based on the information he had. After all, a computer with an entrance to the game stands in an office in such a tedious place where people spend 260 days a year for 8 hours a day. What are they doing there that they like to sit there so much? Do they walk through the labyrinths in search of another way out, which people generally do? Apparently they love getting out of the way, out of the way, out of the way, out of the way out. Is this a misfortune? But this location was still unfinished and led into the void. That's why Caine didn't show it to the main characters. However, the door there must be located somewhere on the finished texture, and so that players do not find it ahead of time, it moves every 5 seconds to a random place on the map. But, alas, it did not help. Emptiness is a space that is outside the game world. If in a normal game you manage to get out of the limited map, then most likely you will catch a glitch and just ruin your game without being able to get out. It's the same here, but there's no way to reboot. The exit cannot be beyond the void. After all, it is simply illogical to exit the game. You either need to press escape or go through it to the end. And if you don't have the keys, there is only one option: to overcome all the problems and adversities on the way to healing. As the main artificial intelligence, Caine is interested in avoiding unwanted glitches because it can protect players from any potential danger. The usual bugs are not a problem to fix, but when a player becomes the source of infection, even Caine cannot remove him from the game, because he has no power over people. Therefore, he throws them simply into a deep, dark space where they will not harm anyone. Caine is not a villain, but only an inept friend who goes out of his way to help the main characters, and they don't even want to try to just have fun, fixated on their fear and despair. Maybe at times he behaves like a human, but that's what the program is designed for, that he responds to people, and in general, he just executes his given command, sends heroes on adventures, explains to them the rules of the quest or what awaits them, explains some new modifications, sometimes at Caine pretty unnatural behavior for a human. And if this video gets more than 10,000 views in a month, then I will release a video about 50 facts about an amazing digital circus that you did not know. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss. And Circus Theory was with you. Thanks for watching, and bye.